This committee is in public session. Right, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to our public meeting this afternoon. We have been notified by Deputy Cannon will substitute for Deputy Higgins. We have apologies received from Deputy Higgins. Anybody else? No. Right, next is petition number 30 of 2023. Create a walking and cycling greenway on the closed railway from Sligo to Athenry from Mr. Brendan Quinn. I see we have Mr. Quinn and Mr. John Mulligan campaigning for the greenway in the public gallery. I'd like to welcome you to the proceedings. This petition relates to the closed railway line from Sligo, Collooney to Athenry. The line is closed for over 4 decades and is lying in waste. People along the route in small towns and villages in the west of Ireland want to see something happen. The petition has garnered just over 26,000 signatures. The petitioner refers to the success that greenways and older railways can achieve, and that a new facility reinventing the closed railway line will bring civic pride to these towns and villages, creating a public space to enjoy. The petitioner is calling on the Minister for Transport to act now and to make this route line redundant for over 40 years to be put to good use now as a greenway until such time as a railway might be possible in the interest of local communities along the route and in the interest of our tourism industry. The petitioner also asks that in the event of the railway is ever restored, that a greenway will be incorporated to run alongside any restored railway lines. The case manager wrote to the Department of Transport in reply, and it was noted. The closed railway line was part of the All-Island Strategic Rail Review commissioned in 2021 and being undertaken in cooperation with the Department of Infrastructure in Northern Ireland. The report recommends that the reinstatement of the rail line from Athenry, County Galway to Claremorris, County Mayo. While reinstatements of the line from Athenry to Claremorris does not necessarily prevent development of a greenway along this section of rail corridor, the feasibility of a greenway beside the railway line would need to be assessed with key stakeholders. Development of a greenway between Charlestown and Collooney is underway, with Sligo Greenway, Collooney to Balahi at an earlier stage of planning. Transport infrastructure from TII have responsibility for funding, planning and designing the greenways. The committee recommends that correspondence from the Department of Transport is sent to the petitioner for comment within 14 days. Have members any views?
Well, Chairman, I would be fairly familiar with this. It's close to my own area, and I know a lot of work that was on with greenways and indeed with people fighting to get railway lines restored. But I think it's very important here that we listen to these people and we should indicate to them, good afternoon to the gentlemen here, that we would be prepared to let them come in here and make their case to us in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
You know, there are greenways being linked up in the area as well. And look, there are always two sides to these arguments. I don't think we should dismiss one over the other. So it is really important we allow those people to make their case. And if they're willing to do that and come here, I think we should, you know, give them that opportunity.
Kieran.
And can I thank Brendan Quinn, who has done Trojan work in assembling this petition of 26,000 signatures, 9,000 of which emanate from my own county of Galway, and John Mulligan, another stalwart campaigner for common sense and for logic and for the reinstatement of a vital piece of public infrastructure connecting Athenry all the way to Sligo that has lain idle for 40 years, bringing no benefit whatsoever to the communities that it should and could serve. And what I would ask, respectfully ask the committee that an absolute priority be afforded to this particular petition. I don't know what the bar is then for one to be heard before the Petitions Committee, how many signatures one needs, but certainly I would suspect very few petitions of 26,000 come before this committee very often. We have a huge groundswell of public support across the whole Western region for this to happen. And what we're simply asking, it's very straightforward, not complicated, that until such time as a rail service is reinstated on that line, and bearing in mind that the All-Ireland Rail Review is only attributing a rail service to the section from Athenry to Claremorris, that we would develop it as a greenway until such time as that happens. That would bring an immediate economic benefit, it would bring an immediate well-being benefit to the people that live along that line connecting Athenry all the way up to Sligo. It makes absolute sense that we would do that in the interim. That the All-Ireland Rail Review has no timeline, it has no budget, and a recent report prepared for Cabinet identified a €13 billion hole in our current National Development Plan, which sets out our transport infrastructure investment priorities for between now and 2040. There's no mention of the Western Rail Corridor anywhere in that plan, and it's got a 13 million deficit before we even start. So it's logic and common sense to suggest that this piece of publicly owned infrastructure could be brought back into use for the benefit of the people that live along it. And that's why 26,000 people have committed their names to this petition, because to them it makes equal sense to do this right now. So I would ask the committee, respectfully ask the members of the committee, and thank you for facilitating me for being here today, that this particular petition would be afforded the maximum priority. Thank you.
Let them come before the committee.
No,
None whatsoever.
before that, Senator Lombard, Deputy Buckley and Deputy Griffin is on the line waiting to come in as well.
Yeah,
look, just to be clear, there's a process to go through with the whole lot, and when we get to the stage, we have no bother, and I recommend here that we send an invitation out at that stage to petitioners come in, put their case in front of the committee here, that we can hear the concerns of the 26,000 signatures, and then you know yourself, we'll bring the Minister in as well with their case. But there won't be a problem.
Thank you.
At the first opportunity, we will ask the petitioners in.
Thank you.
To present their case. Senator Lombard.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thanks for bringing clarity to the issue. I think it's important we do have the petitioners before us. It's a really significant petition. 26,000 is as big as we're ever going to get at this level of the committee. And I think the topic has been well aired by my previous speaker, who has a real good knowledge of what's happening on the ground there. And like we've seen the success of the Greenway projects throughout the entire country. Like down our part of the world, as Deputy Buckley well knows, like in Waterford, it's been an absolutely fantastic success, and we would have spent many days in the summer down there with our family, and it's a wonderful opportunity for everyone to get out and to be, active. And there is a huge economic, and there's a social, and there's a physical and mental benefit to having a Greenway in the locations. So I just think the actual petition of 26,000 needs to be heard. Your contribution, your chairman, is very warranted that we need to have the petitioners brought before us, because I believe that's a really important part of this entire committee. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Buckley.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, look, we went through a lot of amendments setting up the memorandum of understanding for the committee here, and we put in an awful lot of amendments, and I was very passionate on the fact that this is possibly the only committee left in the House of the Oireachtas where it's lastchance.com. And this is where we give the people outside their own voice, and everybody is entitled to have an opinion, everybody is entitled to be heard, and a decent way of debating it and trashing it out. There is absolutely no issue, and this is what it's about. And I say to people outside, I mean, that's a substantial 26,000 people, is a lot of people. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of weight. But, and it is, look, you have to be realistic in this time, and the speakers laid it out there. I mean, it's the immediate benefits of it. Anything to do as with tourism, you invest one, you get a minimum fourfold back. The actual positivity of well-being, getting out in the air, exercise, all this. The tourists, we'll say the monetary value of it in the time. Let it be of use now. I can't believe it's sitting there for 40 years being idle. My God, yeah. When it could be used. I mean, even if the local farmers got together and cut it and levelled it, you could walk it. I mean, as you said, look, the All-Ireland Rail Review report, I've read it myself, and I've looked at stuff even down my way. And Senator Lombard said a while ago that, yeah, we're nearly at the completion of the Middleton-Youghal Greenway, even though a lot of people wanted the railway down there as well. But we had to be realistic with the development charges and everything. But the plus of it, and I make the point, is when these greenways go down, it's actually cost neutral to put the railway line down after. So it's a win-win at the time, and make use of what we have here. We don't get out enough. COVID taught us that we need to make the best of what we have and plan for the future. So I'm totally in agreement.
Yeah, just before I bring Deputy Griffin in, I suppose just to be aware, look, there is other members of the Oireachtas with views on it as well, having come today, and that we just need to be careful that we give, that when the petitioners come in, that we give everybody an opportunity to discuss it, that there isn't any going out from today more or less saying that
Yeah, we won.
committee has come down one side or another. So, look, like we said, I have no bother, and I don't think there won't be any from any of the rest of the committee that at a later date when there is correspondence coming back. This is the first time this petition has come in front of us today, is that over the course of time, and look, we will try and get it in as quick as we can to get the petitioners back in. Deputy Griffin.
Thanks, Chair, and just want to acknowledge, first of all, the effort that went into bringing in 26,000 signatures. That's a massive effort and has to be acknowledged. I think that absolutely this issue warrants further scrutiny by the committee, warrants further discussion. I think that will be important. What I would like to see, I suppose, would be a feasibility report in relation to the logistical possibilities of developing a greenway without encroaching on the future potential of rail. I would be conscious of the fact that if a greenway were to be put down, and the option in the future would be to replace it rather than keep it in place alongside rail, that would cause a big problem. So I think there's a case to be made for both a rail corridor, if not along the entirety of this corridor, for parts of it, and also for the greenway. So I'd like to see more information in relation to whether the two can be done together logistically in that corridor, maybe not at the same time, but that one can be done and won't encroach on the other, depending on the order in which they're built. I don't think we should be waiting for the outcome of the rail review for that to be finalised for that to happen. So I think maybe as a committee we should approach the relevant authorities with a view to establishing the facts here in terms of what is possible logistically.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to bring that up myself. We see from the department's response that there's a few factors here to be dealt with, and when there's consideration being given to the petition and how the reinstatement of the rail services fares in with the overall strategic rail review, but how then safely is it that a greenway could function right beside a functioning railway line. But there are things, like we said, that once the petition comes in, I'm quite sure the two gentlemen or whoever represents them at that stage can put our minds at ease. Just something, Kieran, that you raised about 26,000. Just let people know again that maybe looking in, one signature is sufficient to get a petition in front of us. It's not like other petitions that you need a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand. And as Pat said, it is the one opportunity that members of the public can get their voices heard up here in front of a committee and on the floor at all, eventually if need be.
And a very valuable one and a much appreciated one. Just a final, just additional information to bring to the conversation. So far, the Department of Transport has invested €375,000 in a feasibility planning and design, the recruitment of consultants to do the feasibility planning and design of the section of Greenway from Athenry to Milltown. So the significant investment already on the part of the Department of Transport to determine, as Deputy Griffin has said, what are the possibilities of being able to put a greenway on that section between Athenry and ultimately, hopefully, all the way to Claremorris and onwards, bearing in mind the Sligo County Council is many steps ahead here in terms of developing its section, and bearing in mind this is the same rail line that has lain idle for 40 years, connecting East Galway all the way up to beautiful Sligo, and indeed onwards to Enniskillen in a cross-border initiative that's already substantially underway as well. So there's an incredible opportunity presenting right now in the next 3 to 5 years to develop something really impactful. And obviously, all of us who have the West of Ireland's interests at heart would dearly love to see an enhancement of our rail services all along the Western Rail Corridor. But the reality of it is, from my perspective, is that I don't see that happening for at least the next 15 to 20 years. And I do not want to leave my time in politics, hopefully not too soon, but hope, that to be able to walk away from Leinster House and say, look, I worked with people like Brendan and John and the many others who've been campaigning for this for a very long time to deliver something that has changed substantially and enhanced the lives of people who live along that rail line and who drive by it, walk by it, cycle by it every day,
Right.
looking in over the fence at weeds growing up through it. It's just shameful. Thank you.
Like I said, this is the first time it has come before us, right? We've given an assurance to the petitioners that at a later date, we'll bring them in. We'll try and get the answers to what I've asked and what Deputy Griffin has asked in relation to them too, as well. And at a later date, then other people with maybe different views
Exactly.
can come in and give their view in it as well.
Thank
So if there's agreement, I propose that we fix it. Yeah, sorry.
I think Brendan made a very crucial point there in his speaking. You know, we can't wait around.
No.
You know, we can't be waiting for things to happen in relation to the railway. And we, like, from what I know of what John and Brendan and other people are doing, they're not against railway development. They've clearly said one can work alongside the other. And, you know, you could get this work up and running very quickly. But if you're going to wait for reports on what's going to happen with railway lines, you're right, Karen.
I know, but,
That's the point that Brendan made, like. You know.
Eugene, we're still going to need to get back from the department.
Oh, no, I accept
their
that.
views.
I accept that. No, I'm not, I accept that.
And I agree with Deputy Griffin, we need to know that information before we start making decisions here at committee. So if there's agreement, we will write to the department, try and get that information, and we'll try and fix a date within the near future to invite back in the petitioners and lay their case in front of us, if people are in agreement with that. Great. Okay. Next petition is number 34, 2023. The Irish